Hi everyone, welcome back. So I've got a few new plants to pot up today. I've been and done another garden clearance. I'm a gardener, handyman is my job. So I get a lot of free plants that I have to pull up for people in various places. So I've got a few what I think are Cotoneaster, little seedlings which are just sprouted in the middle of a garden, so they had to go. So I'll spin you around and show you them. Okay, so these are the plants which I managed to salvage. These were growing in the middle of a lawn that had got overgrown. So all sorts of little trees and stuff had sprouted up in there. So I think these are a type of Cotoneaster. I'm not sure. Really weird the way it grows is like a herringbone type shape. These little tiny leaves. And this one's the same sort of thing. And this one. And this is just a standard Cotoneaster by the looks of it. I think that's what it is anyway. This one's quite a cool little tree. And I managed to get almost all the roots out with it. So we'll get these potted up. They've all got some decent roots. I managed to dig them out quite well because the ground's quite wet. So we'll bring them up to the bench and we'll get these potted. Okay, so this is the first one. Cotoneaster. It's got some good roots. I'm going to try and avoid pruning off too many roots. I'll probably just have to cut the one back so that I can fit it in the pot nicely. Might even get away with leaving that one on. In the future I will be root pruning it, get rid of this big thick bit. But for now I don't want to cut any more roots off than what I've already damaged, so I'm going to leave everything on. I'm just going to pot it up. I will give it a little bit of a prune, probably. So I've got my soil mixed up. There, so this is just normal multi-purpose compost and a few handfuls of horticultural grit. Okay, so let's get this tree potted up. So I've decided I will do a little bit of root pruning because it's a good time of year anyway, so we might as well do a little bit. So we can take off this big knobbly bit here. And I'm just going to cut this one back a little bit. And then, other than that one underneath, that's all I'm going to do. So I've got the pot here. This is just a normal flower pot, 3 litre flower pot. So I'll fill that up most of the way with our soil. Try and mound it up in the middle as usual. And then I'll make sure the roots are spreading outwards. Tuck them down the edges, make sure they're not pointing upwards. Adjust any ones that you can move to a radial position with your hands. So just make sure they're all growing nice and radially and down into the soil. And then I'll top up the soil, hopefully it will stay still now. I'm not too worried about planting angle, I'm just trying to get the main trunk to be vertical. And then filling in, making sure the soil goes all around the roots and there's no air pockets in there. We carry on filling up the pot. Gonna need more soil in a minute. Should have enough for this one. Always takes more than you think to fill a pot up. So I'll just make sure the angle's right, and then I'll gently firm the tree down like so, and then firm the soil in. Try and make sure it's level and even, and then I'll give it a little bit of water now. And then I'll come back later on and give it another water. So I'm going to do a little bit of pruning on it as well, because we've got a long shoot sticking up there. So this is trying to take over as a leader. So I'm going to cut it back, not too extreme, just to an outwards facing bud. So to about there. And then this side we've got two branches which cross over each other here, which is unfortunate because they're both quite nice branches. So what I'm going to do is, you can see where it comes and grows up this way. I'm going to cut that bit off, and that bit. And I'm going to have to remove that branch from there as well, like so. And now I'm just going to let the tree grow, I think. Got a dead branch there, I'll take that off. Another one coming on the inside there, which I'll take off now before it starts growing. I can get my secateurs in there. And there was another one there which was just tangled up, which I've just untangled and made sure it's growing out in the right direction. Okay, so that's the first one done. Should make quite a nice little tree. I will just go and get a couple of rocks to put on the soil. I'm going to top the soil up a little bit as well, because it's gone down a bit from the watering. And I want all the roots buried. I could see a couple of had washed, exposed. So that's that one done. Give that another water in a minute, and then I'll go get the other one. Okay, so I'm going to do one of the little ones as well, the ones with the little leaves. I'm only going to put up one of them, and the other two I'm going to plant in my hedge somewhere, I think, just let them grow. So I can just ignore them, I don't have to worry about watering them. But this one's got the best radial roots, so I will pot this one up. It's also the only one that's got decent branching, the other ones are just grown straight up. This one's got a nice interesting shape to it, so we will pot this one up. Okay, so same process as the other one, but I'm going to try something different with this one. Because these roots are kind of growing a bit funny, I'm going to try and wedge a rock in there to spread them out. So I'm going to try and wedge that on there like that. And then plant the rock in there with the plant, with the tree. Get the roots to go where I want them. Okay, so I've never really tried anything like this before, so we'll see how it goes. So I've got the roots kind of wrapped around this rock, sorry. And I'll fill in with some soil. Try and hold them where they are. And I'm not too worried about the planting angle at the moment. I just want to get the roots around that rock, and hopefully they will grow to the shape of it and go more radially, go round the rock. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it should work quite well. And I'll just fill in and firm down the compost as usual. And you never know, there's a rock under there. When we come to repot it next spring, we'll see what happens. That's all the soil gone. Just about enough to do that one. So we'll get this watered, and then I'll do a very little bit of pruning on it, a little light prune. Just take off the tips to encourage more back budding. And I'll give it a water quickly. And then, as usual, I'll come back and water it again later on. Okay, so I'm going to give it a really little light prune. I'm just going to take the tip of this one off and take this one back a little bit to an outwards facing branch. There's a little dead branch there which I'll cut back. And everything else is looking pretty good. It should make quite a nice little tree in the future. Okay, so there's them two potted up. I'll keep them in the greenhouse for a few days or so. We're not due any frost anytime soon. We've had hardly any frost this whole year, so a lot of these things would have been perfectly fine outside. I only leave them in the greenhouse when I've repotted them to protect them from harsh frosts and getting blown over and wiggled around and stuff. So one more thing that I normally do is get a couple of rocks and put them around the soil, but these are pretty secure, so if I can find a couple of rocks I will do that. And like I said, the other two I'm just going to go plant them somewhere in the garden and let them grow in the ground, see what happens with them. I've got too many things in pots at the moment and too many Cotoneasters, so if I'm wrongly identifying these, please let me know. I'll bring you in for another little close-up. Okay, so here's the two trees that we potted up today. Two different types of Cotoneaster, I think. This one's got a nice interesting twin trunk to it. It is only one tree. And the little one with the little leaves is a different type of Cotoneaster, I believe. I might be wrong, so let me know if you know. It's got these little tiny leaves and a nice twisty trunk. So that's them potted up. And these two, like I said, I believe they're also a type of Cotoneaster. I think they might even be different than that other one with the little leaves, just because of the way they grow. Very strange. I could keep one in a pot. I'll leave them in the bucket for now anyway. I've run out of time for today, and I'll decide whether to plant them in the hedge or pot them up and just make sure all the roots are in the water so they don't dry out. Okay everyone, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. I will keep you updated on them. I'll go find a couple of rocks to put on the soil, and I'll let you know what I decide to do with the other two. So hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.